Let's talk about the dry dock incident.
Hi and welcome to this new series of commented videos dedicated to Quantum Break, a game which has been very much talked about since last week.
You were secured, unconscious.
After our coverage of the first act, we're now going to tell you about the beginning of Act 2. In this video, we will only focus on the action sequences featured in the first two chapters, which should keep you safe from story-related spoilers. The first enemy encounter of Act 2 will allow you to strengthen your mastery of the 4 powers you previously unlocked, while making the best use of your environment against your foes. The combination of time dodge and time stop is still very efficient, but be careful not to forget to resort to your time shield once in a while if you decide to play in hard mode. Jack being a lot weaker in the highest difficulty setting, death will be around the corner a lot if you don't. In the middle of the first chapter, you will acquire a brand new attack adding some heavy firepower to your abilities. By holding RB, you will be able to unleash what Remedy calls a time blast, allowing you to get rid of a few enemies in a matter of seconds.
Shotgunner advancing on hostile.
Act 2 also brings new types of Monarch soldiers to the equation, which obviously crank up the difficulty, especially in hard mode. First, you will encounter these tank-like enemies wearing heavy armor. Their resistance will force you to use your powers and shotgun wisely to take them down as quickly as possible. Staying mobile is key, particularly since they move very slowly. As opposed to the geared up soldiers able to move through time you will run into later on in the game. These guys can indeed be pretty tricky to beat, as they can move very fast thanks to their time abilities. To make things worse, they are immune to Jack's time stop power. When accompanying the more regular soldiers, they will undeniably make combat more tactical, forcing you to plan your strategy and to make the best possible decision in order to maintain a certain flow. Combat in Act 2 is obviously very similar to what we showed last week, and aside from the new power and enemies, there is no surprise to be seen in terms of gameplay. A few more abilities will most certainly be added in the next few acts, but we don't think there will be a lot more of them considering there are only 5 acts total in the game. Even if it were to be the case, it should not have much impact on the game's fun factor. The first 5 powers need to be memorized and mastered before you can use them effectively, and they allow for some pretty cool moves. As a result, there should be more than enough tools to keep us entertained until the end. Let us be clear, Quantum Break seems to be one of these games inviting players to try harder until the sequence is completed perfectly well. The goal may just be to survive your enemies, but the way you do it matters a lot more than in most third-person shooters. Not because you're rewarded more if you play well, but because it's just a lot more fun. If you're anything like us, you will not hesitate to reload the last checkpoint to improve your performance and make it even more spectacular. Over the course of our playthrough of the first 2 chapters of Act 2, we saw no real noticeable framerate issues. Even though some areas are bigger and a bit more open than in the beginning of the game, it did not seem to affect framerate to the point we felt an analysis video was necessary. There's still some tearing to be seen here and there where the scene is loaded with details, but the overall performance during gameplay was smooth and enjoyable from what we've seen. Our only regret is that stepping over things in the scenery is just too slow and awkward, which breaks momentum when in combat. We wish there were some nice action moves like in Stranglehold, where you could slide over tables to finish off your enemies. Here comes the end of our first video. Now is the time for you to check the next one, in which we will talk about what you should expect outside of combat in Quantum Break.